Welcome to today's episode where I want to think with you about technology, education, and what it means to lead at the end of the human. I'll be bringing into conversation three very different thinkers: Martin Heidegger, Günther Anders, and J.M.E. McTaggart. Together, they offer not a simple roadmap, but a set of provocations for how we might confront technology, its dangers, and its possibility for turning. So let's begin with Heidegger. In 1954, he delivered a lecture, later published as Die Technik und die Kehre, or The Question Concerning Technology. His central claim was that technology is not just about machines or tools, its essence lies in how it reveals the world to us. He called this essence Gestell, or framing. Under Enframing, the world no longer appears as a collection of beings in their own right. Instead, everything shows up as Bestand, standing reserve, a resource to be ordered, stored, and consumed. A forest becomes timber stock, a river becomes hydroelectric potential, and even people become human capital, data points, or resources. The danger here is not simply exploitation, but the narrowing of truth itself. If enframing becomes the only way of seeing, then alternative ways of encountering reality, poetic, ethical, or spiritual, are eclipsed. And yet, Heidegger insists that this greatest danger lies within this greatest danger, the possibility of what he calls die Kehre, or the turning. The turning happens when we recognize enframing as a mode of revealing, not as reality itself. That recognition reopens space for other forms of discourse through art, poetry, dwelling, and care. But we must not take Heidegger uncritically. He was, after all, a Nazi. His thought is inseparable from his political entanglement with fascism. That complicity should trouble us, especially when we're dealing with questions of power, control, and technology. At the same time, Heidegger had Jewish students, and among them, the more famous one was Hannah Arendt, but among them was also Günther Anders. Anders fled Germany in the 1930s and eventually exiled in the United States. That positionality, Jewish, exiled, writing in the aftermath of Hiroshima and Auschwitz, these mark Anders's work as a radical counterpoint to his teachers, Heidegger. In 1956, Anders published Die Antiquiertheit des Menschen, or The Obsolescence of Man, where Heidegger gave us a metaphysics of danger and turning, Anders gave us a polemic of despair. For Anders, the problem was not only that technology inframes the world, the problem is that technology has already surpassed us. He coined the phrase Promethean shame, the feeling of inadequacy we experience when confronted with our own machines. Our creations are stronger, faster, more efficient, more destructive than we are. Humans, Anders argued, are apprentices of their own machines, morally and imaginatively outpaced by the very tools that we make. Nuclear weapons, concentration camps, and computers were for him not just metaphors, but material realities. Unlike Heidegger's slim hope in Die Kehre, Anders doubted that art or poetry would rescue us. His work is apocalyptic, a warning that if we do not urgently reckon with technology, it will destroy us. So, we have Heidegger's enframing, we have Anders's shame. But what happens if we bring in J.M.E. McTaggart, the Cambridge philosopher of time, and metaphysics. McTaggart is remembered for his argument that time is unreal, but also for something less discussed, his claim that the ultimate nature of reality is love. This metaphysical vision offers a striking counterpoint. Where Heidegger warns of a narrowing of being and Anders despairs at the human obsolescence, McTaggart reminds us that beyond time, beyond technology, the ground of reality is relational. Love is not sentimentality here, it is ontology, the substance of the real. For me, this matters deeply when we think about education. If we accept Heidegger's danger and Anders's shame, we risk paralysis. But if we hold McTaggart's love as a guiding principle, we find the possibility of leadership, rooted not in control, but in care, stewardship, and relationality. This is what I argue in my current work on leadership at the end of the human. AI and planetary crisis confront us with four interlocking crises: ecological, epistemological, affective, and ethical. These are not problems to be solved by optimization. They are existential conditions. In this moment, Heidegger warns us of the narrowing. Anders warns us of the obsolescence. But McTaggart invites us to imagine a turning, a rebirth, where love becomes the ontological foundation for leadership. So perhaps the real challenge is this: to face the danger of enframing without surrendering to despair, to acknowledge the shame of our obsolescence without denying our responsibility, and to turn, in McTaggart's sense, towards a metaphysics of love. Leadership at the end of the human is not command nor calculation. It is stewardship, holding open the possibility of futures worth inheriting, even in times of collapse. Thank you for joining me.